Good. All right. Good evening. My name is Jason Bickling, and I'm the Executive Director of the Seward Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to meet the candidates tonight. Thank you for attending, candidates. And we want to thank our sponsors, GCI Channel 9, although they are having some troubles. Seward Public Radio, KIBH 91.7, the City of Seward, and the Seward Chamber of Commerce. We also want to thank the public for their input on the format and the questions presented this evening. I'd like to welcome our candidates, Sean Corrigan, Sue McClure, and Liz DeMoss. And we have been asked to read the following statement from candidate Selma Casagranda. After much contemplation, I have made the difficult decision to drop out of the election for a seat on Seward City Council. My name will be on the ballot, but if I win the vote, I will not be taking the seat. I have made many commitments that I need to follow through with, and I do not believe I would have the time to fully commit myself to being on City Council in the way that we citizens deserve. It would not be fair if I were to be elected over someone else, with the fact that I'm leaving for university next year and have still not found a way to remotely be on the council. I sincerely apologize if I am letting anyone down, but I know this is the right thing to do. However, I do look forward to creating and implementing a position of a student representative to add to the City Council in the near future, because I'm passionate about getting Seward's youth heard. Remember, no matter who you are, speak up, because your voice matters. Thank you for everyone's support. I'm eternally grateful for this opportunity and all the things that I have learned from it. I love you, Seward. We appreciate that communication in what I'm sure was not an easy decision to make for Selma. So we thank you for that communication. Your moderator tonight will be David Kingsland, and I will be your timer. And Mr. Kingsland will review the guidelines with the candidates and then begin the evening's questions.
All right, thank you, Jason. Good evening, candidates.
Good evening.
Each candidate will have 3 minutes for an introductory statement, followed by a question period from the chambers submitted or from the public. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer questions that have been submitted. Order of response will rotate per question. Sean, we'll start with you. Then each candidate will have concluding remarks for 3 minutes at the end after the question period is done. You'll be given a sign by your timer when you have 30 seconds and 10 seconds left in your speaking time. Jason will be doing that. You got one there you can show him? Excellent. When you see the red stop sign, please stop immediately and do not go over. The number of questions asked this evening will be based on the time. We will wrap up questions and move to concluding remarks with enough time left to be done by 7 p.m. Candidates, do you have any questions?
No.
All right, well, let's get started then.
Would you like me to go ahead and start?
I'll ask you the question. I'll read it for all the candidates. And if you need me to repeat a question, just feel free to ask and I'll read it again.
Okay.
Sue?
The introductory statements first?
Yes, introductories first. Oh, yes, Sean.
Okay.
Yeah. Please start.
Yeah, I was getting confused there. Okay. Hello, my name is Sean Corrigan. I've been in Seward for over 20 years. I've got a total of 25 years in the fire service, and I've done over 19 years as a 911 dispatcher, becoming a supervisor for the dispatch center. And now I'm wanting to help serve my community by being on council.
All right. Thank you. Sue?
Well, hi, I'm Sue McClure, and many people know me. If you don't know me, I'll just say a little bit about my history, just to fill you in. My great-grandparents and one set of grandparents came here in about 1925 from Valdez. I had family here since then. I was born here. I was valedictorian of the class of '68 at Seward High. I left to Fairbanks and got a couple of degrees and ended up teaching at high school, both high schools in Fairbanks for 11 years. Went to California, had my son Bixler, that many of you know, and taught at Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo, California. I taught chemistry. couldn't wait to get back. I couldn't wait to leave here when I was 18, couldn't wait to get back, and so I retired a little bit early and came back, got my house built, and this was in 2007, and began this part of my life volunteering like crazy, and I always wanted to be on planning and zoning or something, so I got right on planning and zoning, which morphed into getting elected twice to the Borough Assembly and then immediately on to council. So I've been on city council now for 5 years, actually, 2 two-year terms and 1 one-year term, and I'm not quite done yet, but almost. And so I'm going for it again. My volunteering has put me in contact with many groups of people of different ages and interests, and of course with the COVID there's a little less of that now, but as soon as we can start having meetings and choirs and things like that again, I will be very active out there with all of you. Right now a lot of the contact with people is by phone and text, and I've been available to people. I am the odd person that really enjoys public meetings. I enjoy meetings, and I will say that probably again tonight, but it is one of the things that I really like, the interaction, and when we can actually have human people here again, it will be a lot better. So you'll hear more tonight from me. So that's all I got right now.
All right, thank you, Sue. Liz, your turn.
Hi, my name is Liz DeMoss. I am a local business owner and realtor here in Seward. I've lived here for 13 years here in Seward, but over 20 in Alaska. I have lots of family and all over the state, actually. I've operated my business in downtown Seward for over 13 years. My husband and I own a home here in town, and thank you for having me tonight, and I'm very excited to be a part of this process.
All right, thank you. Again, we'll move to the question section, and then we'll follow up the end with a wrap-up statement from each candidate. All right, Sean, we'll start with you. What positions have you held in the Seward community that have given you experience to sit on city council, and in what ways have they prepared you to carry out that role?
Okay, I've been in the fire service for 25 years. 24 of those years have been with the local Seward Fire Department, where I got the rank of assistant chief before I retired. Also, I've done over 19 years being a 911 dispatcher for the Seward Police Department, ending up with the rank of dispatch supervisor. I am familiar with a lot of the emergency operation procedures for the city of Seward in case of any natural man-made disasters from their guideline books. And I feel that that will help me with some experience to be on council to make sure that Seward has a great public safety infrastructure.
All right, thank you. Sue?
Well, I sort of said that in my intro, I guess, but I have been on city council for 5 years, and I was on the Borough Assembly for 6, and I was on P&Z before that. So I'm pretty well acquainted with how meetings work and the dynamic. I think it's important to realize what's expected of a council member in terms of just the way you present yourself and the way you interact with other council members, that it's a collaborative effort to come to a decision, and I take that very seriously. I agonize over most votes and try to do the best I can. So the other unique thing, I guess, is just the volunteering I've done with all the different groups of different ages, that I get input from a variety of people as the days go on, and I think that helps out a lot too.
All right, thank you, Sue. Liz?
Well, currently I am serving as a commissioner on planning and zoning here in Seward. So that has definitely helped me develop an understanding for the importance of contributing to meetings in an efficient and productive manner. I'm a local realtor, so through that I've understood the unique housing needs that we have here in Seward, being a seasonal community. I've been a business owner here in Seward for 13 years in the hospitality industry, so I feel as a business owner I'm detailed oriented, I'm good with budgeting, I'm not afraid to make tough decisions, I'm not afraid to make necessary changes. And I've also, through working in the hospitality, had an opportunity to really hear people's opinions from all different facets of the community for quite a long time now. And so that really has given me a lot of insight to what the community desires are for Seward.
All right, thank you. Sue, we're moving to you for the next question. What are your thoughts and beliefs on the role of a city council member, how they conduct themselves, and how they represent the city of Seward?
Wow. I think it's a serious elected position that when people vote you in to a position on council or the assembly, you are being chosen amongst however many that are out there. And it's your responsibility to carry the weight of that seriously. So in terms of sitting on the dais, decorum and knowledge of the rules is very important. Speaking when you're supposed to speak, that sort of thing. It's not I'm not sure how to say it. It's not a position of power, and sometimes people feel that it is. It's a position of responsibility where you have to make decisions for other people. So it's not like you've suddenly been elected to some grandiose position where you can rule the world or you're better than anyone else. It's a humble thing. It's a servant position, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I take that very seriously too, that it's, you're doing a job for the people, and you should present yourself in that manner all the time when you're especially up on the dais.
All right, thank you. Liz?
I agree with a lot of what Vice Mayor McClure just stated. I think that being a council member, it's necessary to conduct yourself in a professional manner outside of the dais, but especially on the dais, and being aware and educated on the way that meetings work and what the topics are at hand, so you can contribute in an efficient manner. And also mainly being a voice for our constituents, because that really is why we're here, and to remember that we're here to convey their concerns and their opinions.
All right, thank you. And Sean?
I also agree with both of them. I feel that it's a very honorable and a privilege to be selected from the citizens for you to represent them and be a voice for them for the city. It is a great, noble honor to be on here to guide the city on, tracking into the future. With the, behavior etiquette and all that, we'll be learning all that through trainings and stuff like that, especially for those who are new. But I find that it's just an incredible honor to represent the citizens.
All right, thank you. And Liz, we'll go on to you for the third question. For various reasons, 2 council members have resigned their seats in the last year. What is your level of commitment to fulfilling your entire 3-year term?
My level of commitment is high. I have lived here for 13 years. I own a business here. I own a commercial building downtown in my home. I've got family here with kids in school at the elementary school and middle school. I have shown my dedication at the planning and zoning meetings. I've attended every meeting and work session. I've been attending council meetings for a long time, not even being on council. And yeah, I just don't plan on going anywhere. I seldomly travel. I like to work. It's weird, but I do. So I'll be here for sure.
All right, thank you. And Sean, same question.
My commitment was as soon as I put in the application to fulfill a 3-year term, the full term. I reside here. I've got a job here. I've got kids in school. you know, and so I'm committed to do the 3 years. As for the other council members who had to leave early, you know, life happens. You know, some things came up, and I'm sure that they had plans to fulfill their 3-year term, but things happen, things pop up, and, you know, you just got to go with it, you know, whether it's, you know, family or, you know, job or anything like that. But being here that I have a job and I'm residing here and stuff, I'm fully committed for the 3-year term.
All right, thank you. And Sue?
My commitment is absolute. I've got my son and his wife and my grandson here and my mom, and this is home, and I'm here. My record stands before me too. I notice a grin from out there. I actually came to run a work session one day when I face planted and ended up with black eyes all over the place, and I was bleeding, ended up in the emergency room, but I was here. And then we didn't have a quorum, but then but you know, my commitment is absolute. This is my number one priority, beyond anything else, is to be here. One of the commitments you make going into this is it's not just the 2 meetings a month, it's the work sessions and other things, the budget sessions. And so you have to expect that you're going to be pretty busy through it. And as Sean said, life does happen. So with others that have not fulfilled the whole time, moving out of town or going away for a job, or things do happen, and it's just unfortunate when it does, because that shifts everything from the election and what people expect. So yes, I think it looks like we're all committed to this, so that's a good thing.
All right, thank you. And moving over to Sean here for the next question. What do you feel are the top challenges facing our community right now, and how do you plan on addressing those issues?
Some of the issues that I feel that we have in Seward is housing. I feel we need a lot more adequate housing. Especially, I know that we do have more subdivisions going up, and that's great. But I also feel that we need to look at possibly getting middle income and above apartment complexes for those people who either can't afford a home yet or they want to start saving for a home to reside in Seward. I feel once we get our housing up and running and we have more availability, I think we'll be able to have more people be able to come in and then get more jobs going as well. Another big concern of mine, which made me interested in running for this position, was the last tsunami warning. There was a lot of confusion, and you know, the city was doing their best putting out the information on social media, but you had several different agencies that were giving different information. And you know, being a citizen, you know, and seeing all the social media posts, there was a lot of people that were concerned and they were really confused. And when you have a bunch of people that are confused, you're going to lead to a panic, and that's going to be even worse. So I feel that the city, along with the borough and stuff, can do a lot better. And hopefully we can work on that with the borough and the state and federal to get adequate warning.
All right, thank you. Sue?
Well, I have to completely agree with Sean on that one. That's one of my pet peeves, that there's a lack of communication during emergencies, and I have some experience with that, being here in 1964 even. So our biggest challenge right now is getting through COVID and getting through it financially, I think. Helping out, as we've done with the business CARES Acts and the nonprofits, trying to figure out what's going to happen with our city budget due to the decreased income this summer from the lack of the cruise ships and the tourists, and then how to move on from there. So that's a challenge. Housing is a challenge, and we're trying with the new subdivisions, putting through ways to put in utilities and stuff to try to help with that, but we do need to try to get more affordable housing for people. One of our challenges recently has been just getting along, and that's not just within the council, but everywhere. People, I think it might be partly the just the stress of COVID and the times, but just trying to work together to make Seward a better place to live. And that is an existing challenge. I think that it takes some effort just to listen to people and to be kind. And so there are other challenges, but you might hear some more of them tonight.
Thank you. And Liz?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Sure. What do you feel are the top challenges facing our community right now, and how do you plan on addressing those issues?
Thank you. I feel obviously the economy is a top challenge for us. We are going to see a drastic change in our sales tax income, our sales tax revenues. So we need to look at balancing the budget. We need to look at what costs need to be cut. I'm not interested in raising taxes. I'm not interested in raising property taxes or utility fees. So we need to look at other ways to make that happen so we can make up for some of that lost revenue. I think there are some things that we can cut in our budget until we make up some of that cash flow. I think another main issue with our local economy is locking in a solid finance director for the position. I think that's something that's been lacking, and right now especially something that's necessary for someone to be able to analyze that and give good recommendations to the council. I think another issue that Seward is facing is crime, and I think we need to support our local police department as much as we possibly can, offering them resources that they can utilize, good leadership, so our community feels safe and feels safe raising a family here. And I also think that another issue in Seward is focusing on our youth and the mental health of our community. I like that Seaview is collaborating with the community health center and the schools on mental health issues. I think that's really admirable, and I would like to see us continue in that direction. So crime, economy, youth, mental health, top issues, absolutely.
All right, thank you. And moving to Sue. Tell me how you will work with various city entities and small businesses to grow our economy and bring more year-round jobs to Seward, while also preserving our heritage, the nature of our town, and our way of life.
That's a big question.
That is.
Wow. Well, as on the city council, there are only certain things we can do in collaboration with businesses. We can hopefully have fair rules, fair treatment to all businesses, so some aren't charged more than others for utilities and such things. We can help with the process of getting businesses started. There's just not a lot of extras we can do, so we want entities, we want the city to be helpful, to bring people here, to diversify our economy. This is one thing. We have a fairly diverse economy, but it's way too heavy, I think, on certain areas like the tourism. And I think that if we can diversify economy, bringing in more jobs, that will help out with all the businesses too. Prioritizing local shopping is another thing where if we can keep businesses open year-round and keep people here, that will help too. It all feeds upon itself, I think, that the small businesses are the heart of Seward and the heart of our economy, but then the people that go to the businesses have to have jobs to be able to do that. So it's all quite integrated together. And as council, we can just do what we can do to further that along.
All right, thank you. Liz?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question again? It was kind of
Sure.
loaded.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tell me how you will work with various city entities and small businesses to grow our economy and bring more year-round jobs to Seward while also preserving our heritage, the nature of our town, and our way of life.
Thank you. First, I think the Chamber does an excellent job, and especially through everything that's been happening recently, they've been very supportive of small business and working with the city to help communication and facilitate a lot of the funding and that kind of thing. So I think that we always need to support our chamber. Our chamber works hard at developing and has been working on trying to develop Seward into more of a year-round economy, which I think is important. I also think there's some things that we haven't quite tapped into yet that we could work on. You know, utilizing our ice-free port. I think that there's some opportunity there that we could utilize and investigate a little more. That would also create jobs year-round for people. I'm not afraid of talking about things like annexation. I know that that can be a sensitive topic, but that can also bring a lot of money into Seward with a lot of people living and doing business right outside of town. So I think that could contribute to the health of our community. And I think that preserving the history of Seward is really important. Therefore, I want to make sure that the council is always supporting the Historic Preservation Society and working together with the boards and commissions to make sure that we're on the same page and getting input from our community as much as we can.
All right, thank you. And Sean?
For me, I see a lot of the businesses that we have. I see that Seward is really getting kind of heavy into the tourism, and tourism is great, but I feel that Seward needs to do more in year-round and be stronger in that. And I think that the city, along with the Chamber of Commerce, could do more advertising to get more year-round businesses here, so that Seward isn't entirely a ghost town. As soon as the summer's over, everybody rolls up and locks the doors, and now we're just a sleepy little town. I feel we need more businesses to stay in town and to have local owners, and not have a whole bunch of owners who are constantly from the outside, like in Anchorage or whatnot, and just running a part-time or seasonal business here. I think that if we have more in-town businesses that are open year-round, I think that'll make Seward a stronger economy. Yep.
All right, thank you. And moving on to Liz. What is your experience with budgeting and strategy for creating a balanced budget for the city? What areas does the city need to decrease resources, and what areas does the city need to invest more in?
You know, I have been studying the budget quite a bit over the last few months, especially for Seward, and I have found some things that I would cut. I think we could look at maybe some of our outdated fees like campgrounds. I would like to see that maybe increased. I think that we could utilize our visitors in more of a way of, I'm not huge on targeted taxes, but I do think that the bed tax is a good thing for Seward. I am not supportive of necessarily increasing that, but for example, I think that that is a way to get some income. I also think that this goes back to the finance director and having a good, strong, qualified finance director that is analyzing that budget and giving us as a council good recommendations. That's really an expertise kind of position, and I don't think people are interested in having revenues raised, especially right now. So I think that we need to look at what costs we can cut that are not things that we need to purchase right away. And there are some things that we could probably put off for a couple of years, like some things maybe in our motor pool, aside from safety vehicles. I think that we're going to make up our tourism, like I said before. I think we're going to make up our sales tax faster, and I think that we're going to have quite a bit of business coming up here in the next couple of summers, so I don't think it's going to be a long-term issue, but I think we are going to have to cut some costs and make a few decisions over the next 2 or 3 years to get back on track.
All right, thank you. And Sean?
For me, I think one of the things we need to do first for the budget is find out from the city what their strategic plan and objectives are for their budget and what they want for that fiscal year. From there, you need to look at, the major things, like public safety. You need to look at your critical infrastructures and so forth, and then go from there. One area of concern that's been brought up very recently that we would need to definitely look at to see what's going on is with the electric department. We've had several power outages within the last couple days, and we need to figure out what exactly is going on and what the electric department needs to do to remedy that before we get into our season where power outages are a common thing. But right now, a lot of the outages we've had have not been weather related, and we're getting into the season where they are going to become weather related, and we need to address those. So that may be an item that we need to look at increasing more, and by doing that, we're going to have to look at the line items and see where we're going to probably have to cut back on others.
All right, thank you. And Sue?
Yeah, our budget process is complex. We have a 2-year cycle, so this year coming up, we're in the middle now of, we call it a mid-cycle correction, I think. And so this year we do the tweaking on the budget that we passed last year that would go on until another full more year. There's always an emphasis on having a balanced budget, but I see a budget as a fluid document because there are always things you can't account for. You can make the plan, but we couldn't account for, when we made the budget, the COVID happening and what ramifications that had. On the other hand, it's a process where you have to study it. You have presentations. There are many, many meetings, and you have to think about, where can we cut, what can we do. There's always going to be things that people want more of and things that people want less. One of my things is, as Sean said, putting money into infrastructure where we can start fixing some, or preemptively fixing some of the problems that might exist, sewage lagoon, electrical issues if they are. So if we put more there, where do we take it from? One of the corrections tends to be unfilled positions. If we don't need them, we just don't fill them, and then that's a source of balance. That's not a real positive thing either. We have some contracts that currently in my mind are an issue. We have a contract, I believe, still with Avtech for the gym, but we can't use it. And this whole summer, although the money came from the cruise ship head tax, we had the shuttle bus running all summer without cruise ships. And so I hear from people there's some outgoing money that might not be necessary. But anyway, it will be one of those things also that people need to tune in on when we have our budget meetings.
All right, thank you, Sue. Time's up.
Time's up.
All right, Sean, we're going back to you for this one. Tell me about how you will manage the tension between personal interests versus what is best for the greater good of the community.
Well, for being a part of the city council, you can't have personal interest here. You are the voice of Seward. You are the voice of the citizens. You're representing them. So you're going to need to be making tough decisions. You can't be, emotionally invested into it. You've got to do what's best for the city. You've got to do what's best for the greater good. It's, going back for dealing with public safety. Okay? It's not about you, it's about the mission. You need to focus on the mission at hand. So with your personal interest in it, you need to leave that at the door. You need to work at what's best for the town and the community. And there are going to be issues where it's going to be complex and it's going to be controversial. But you need to do what's best for the citizens and to protect them.
All right, thank you. Sue, same question.
Could you repeat that again,
Yeah.
please?
Tell me about how you will manage the tensions between personal interests versus what is best for the greater good of the community.
I think I agree with Sean. You shouldn't come into this position with a personal agenda. It should be, once you are here, what is for the greater good. You may view what's good for the masses differently than one of the others sitting near you, but you should look at the overall. So I don't often see a whole lot of tension. I think most people make the decisions based on the community good as they personally see it, however. The real wrong thing would be to come on with an agenda and try to hammer that through during your tenure, and I certainly wouldn't be doing that. So.
All right, thank you, Sue. And Liz?
I guess I would say it's just in my nature to do what is best for the greater good, and I understand that that's what this position entails. As a business owner, I've had to make tough decisions and do what's best for my business, not what's best for maybe my friend who works there that I need to terminate. So I am used to making tough decisions. I'm not afraid to do that, and I'm not afraid to make the right decision and the fair decision. And I would say that just naturally comes to me, and I don't see myself struggling with that. I also have no problem recusing myself if I find myself to be too close to a certain topic or situation that I need to vote on.
All right, thank you. All right, Sue, moving on, we're starting with you. What are your plans to attract young families to our community and keep them here?
There are a lot of young families here right now. I think the thing that would attract young families is survivable wage jobs and housing. I'm not sure that the city council can effectively create good paying jobs or actually housing. We can help facilitate that kind of thing, as Sean suggested, apartments and a little bit less expensive things. We certainly have attractive things for kids. We've got so many parks. Having my grandson, I mean, we've been to every park forever, I mean, we've got stuff for the younger ones here. We may not have as much for the older kids, but I grew up here when there wasn't really anything for anybody. We had the bowling alley, that was it. So the more we can make Seward vibrant year-round with businesses that are year-round, and hopefully things to do, like if we could ever get a theater again or attract a business like that, that would help too. I think that it's housing and jobs. So, but I would hope that people wouldn't move to a place without a job at least, and presumably they would have housing too before they came here. So one should do the research before they actually end up in town and then looking for something. So it's definitely a priority. We need that because we can't just be a retirement community.
Thank you. Liz?
I have a very vested interest in the youth community. I've got nieces and nephews here in school. It's really important to me that they have an enriching, positive experience growing up here in Seward and feel proud to have grown up here. Maybe want to come back and live the rest of their lives here and raise their families here. One thing that I see is, not a lot of families and kids being able to utilize the recreational activities that we have just here in Seward, because some of it is really astronomically priced, or the gear the gear that you need to utilize it. So I would like to see the Parks and Rec Department develop a really strong gear rental program for families and kids that costs next to nothing to go and borrow skis or snowshoes or fishing gear. So they can utilize some of these things that Seward has to offer. In the dead of winter, they can go out and ski at mile 12, instead of playing on their phones in their bedroom. I would like to see more affordable homes for sale. I think that our seasonal housing problem has just been solved with our new 40-plex right outside of town. That's a lot of option for year-round housing for all types of residents or seasonal people. I think that affordable homes is something that we need here, and I think that by supporting developers that want to make and build affordable homes, the way that they can build affordable homes is by being able to afford to extend utilities to some of these subdivisions, and we as a city of Seward can help support them by offering them assistance to be able to do that, to build much needed inventory, family style homes. But I definitely think that the seasonal housing, it's been solved. We've got a new 40-plex in town, so very thankful for that. And I'll end it at that. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Liz. And
It
Sean?
happens.
And I feel that we definitely need more affordable housing for, you know, whether it's homes, subdivisions, apartment complexes, for those who can't afford a home yet, or a house, or anything like that. We need to have more jobs as well, more year-round jobs, not just seasonal. So we need to work on that. We need to try and grow in the year-round term. For the children, starting with the very young ones, we need more childcare. There is absolutely not enough childcare in this town, and the very few things that you have for childcare here, the cost is astronomical. So we need to get affordable childcare, and we need to get a lot more options for childcare. For the older kids, we need to have more stuff in place. We do have, you know, a teen center. We do have after-school programs and sports and stuff like that. But one of the age groups that we also need to look on is for the kids who are going to be coming back from college, and that's going to be like your 18-year-olds to 21. Those kids, when they come back from college, there is nothing for them to do while they're visiting. They can't go to the bars like an adult. They can't go to the teen center or anything like that with the teenagers. So they're kind of stuck, and it's been like that for a lot of years. And that's where, you know, you can at times see some trouble with that age group too. So I think if we can find something for everybody, that's going to attract more people. If we can get more businesses, you know, like a bowling alley again or a movie theater, I think that would be great. But we need more housing and childcare, definitely.
All right, thank you. And moving over to Liz. How do you define the relationship between the city and small businesses in helping develop a healthy economy? Why should a small business owner vote for you?
Well, small business is who promotes Seward. We're the heart of the community. We promote our town. I will always strive for a healthy relationship between business owners and our city administration. I would like to see an equitable process for all businesses and residents in the community. I think it's important to be able to throw a bone when you can to someone who is just starting out, whether they're trying to get a permit for building a home or a permit for remodeling their old commercial building that they want to try and put some money into. And I think that any assistance that the city can do to help that is good. The healthier our local economy is, the more sales tax we raise for our community. I think that I should get the small business owners vote because I know what it's like. I've been operating a small business here in Seward for 13 years. I grew up in a family that operated small business. I have a work ethic where I don't stop until the project is complete. I love living here in the winter and trying to keep that business open year-round like Sean was talking about. It's not as easy as just saying we need everyone to stay open year-round. We need to offer affordable utilities for these people to be able to heat their building so they can keep it open year-round, because you can't ask business owners to lose tens of thousands of dollars just to keep it open year-round in case someone wants to have lunch. So I think with that being said, I understand the cost and dedication it takes to do business within city guidelines, and that's why I deserve the small business owners vote.
All right, thank you. And Sean?
For me, I feel that small business is not just the heart and soul of, like, for Seward or any small town, but it's the heart and soul of America. It's what happens in every town, every city. Small business is what runs throughout the whole entire nation. And it's vital to have a good relationship between the city and the local small businesses. We need to be there to support the small businesses, and they also need us to help support them. We've got the Chamber of Commerce and stuff. They're wonderful in helping out small businesses and being out there to try and attract more business. Why should the small business owner vote for me? I understand what it's like for a small business owner. My wife has a small business, and I've helped her out with it, and I've seen the struggles that can go with the small business, and so I understand what it entails for running one, and why it is hard to constantly keep it going and all that, and there's ups and downs. But I feel that if the city has a great relationship with the local small businesses and supporting them, I find that we can be an actual healthy town.
All right, thank you. And Sue?
Well, all that they said. We're nothing without small businesses. It's the heart of Seward. I had said before, I think the city needs to make sure that we play fair with all the businesses, and in terms of costs and things, utilities and like that. We, as a city council, support the Chamber of Commerce, who advertises and supports small businesses, so that's important in terms of the advertising. I've never owned a small business. I was a teacher. It's just how it is, right? But my son has 2 businesses here in Seward, and I've watched how he's dealt with that, and they're not brick and mortar, they're ocean and sky, but small businesses are really important, year-round small businesses especially, and I'm very impressed always with people that keep them going. Why should a small business owner vote for me? Because I believe I will be fair and consistent in my votes if we are dealing with business issues.
All right, thank you. The next question some of you touched upon with previous answers. Feel free to elaborate. If elected to city council, what are your plans to support the youth of the community, specifically the 3 following age groups: birth to preschool, school age, and young adults, 18 to 21?
Whose turn is it?
And it goes to Sean.
Oh.
Okay, for what I would do to support them is we need to look at getting better options and a better voice for our school. The schools across the peninsula, they have so many course offerings that are alternative courses for the older kids that it's just insane that we don't get a voice to have any of that. Some of the courses are like welding or certified nurse's aid. 2 of those jobs right there, those classes, could interest a young resident to make them want to stay, to where they could work at the hospital here, or they could do a job with the maritime industry, or in construction. I feel that we need to work on getting a stronger voice for Seward for the school system, so we can get better classes for our children. For the preschool age, we need to have the preschool set up for them for the in the elementary school, and also if there's any private ones. I know many years ago, my daughter went to Seeds of Faith preschool, and it was great. For the school age kids, we need to keep them in school, and we need to get the better courses for them. I feel that they're getting cheated out from the rest of the schools on the other side of the peninsula, and we need to work on them. For the 18 to 21 year olds, they're going to be just graduating high school, and they're going to be in college. I feel that if the high school can get those classes, that we can show them trade courses. So if they want to go to college, that's great, but if they want to go to a trade profession and move on with that, that's awesome too. But we need to focus on the youth.
All right, thank you. And Sue?
Okay, well, we're asking what the city council can do to make this happen too. And a lot of it involves the school board and the school district. But encouragement of daycare and preschool is really important. There's the preschool at the school. And then we had other preschools, but of course right now none of that's happening with COVID. It would be nice if there are a few daycares, but we need more of that. I don't know how we encourage that. In school, school-age kids, the biggest thing I see is to personally encourage people to keep their kids in school, because if they don't keep their kids in school, that's part of the problem. Our enrollment is low, and then we don't get the funding for those extra things like music and band and, all of those things that was a big deal growing up here for me, the things you could actually do in school. With the young adults, high school age, with the way the high school is, there is an integration between some of the technical or the trades and the businesses and the classes at school, and which has been explained to us. It's pretty clever to keep people interested or maybe find a career. We also have the Boys and Girl Club running the what used to be TYC now, and that at least gives people something to do, and to continue to help out with that would be a good thing too. So as much as we can do as a council to encourage and provide whatever we can, or to lobby the school board and the school district to do more too.
All right, thank you. And Liz?
Thank you. I think that the Parks and Rec program we could use a bit of an overhaul on, and really kind of see what Parks and Rec is providing and what our needs are and what we can do in that area. I like the idea of supporting mentorship programs, supporting the Boys and Girls Club. I've been hearing of some exciting childcare opportunities that are in the works right now, and I'm excited about that, and that's something that I definitely want to support. I also agree with Vice Mayor McClure here on that Seward needs more of a voice in the borough for the school system, and so we can be more on top of it and really express what our kids need here and deserve as far as some of those extracurriculars and alternative things.
All right, thank you. And
Hold on, I'm just going to give you a couple more additional questions.
oh, okay.
I think we've had enough.
These will go up after.
Remember, this was designed for
Right.
4, not for
Right.
3.
Yep. All right. And we're moving on to Sue for start us off on question number 11, Sue. Whether dealing with a pandemic or living in earthquake and tsunami zones, what are your plans to help our community continue to be better prepared for those types of situations?
Oh my. Well, that's right up my alley. Personal responsibility, first of all, to manage your own emergency plan, to keep food and water available, be prepared. That's a really big deal. Having been through the '64 quake and several other instances like that, it's important to have personal responsibility. Knowledge is power. We need direct, absolute communication via however we're going to get it, Nixle or whatever source, about what's going on when it's happening. I've told the story before that after the last tsunami incident that Sean was talking about, I mentioned that in 1964 we had a guy driving around with a loudspeaker saying, tidal wave warning, get to high ground. And that worked real well because that was one person giving information. And what we had with the tsunami instance was multiple sources confusing people. And so there is going to be work on that. I've been talking a lot with the administration and the borough about that. And you know, it never gets perfect, but we're kind of working on that. So personal responsibility and then direct absolute communication to the best of the knowledge at the time. So people are informed so they don't panic. I mean, because once you know what's going on, it's a lot better than just running around not knowing. So those are my, it's one of my priorities.
All right, thank you. And Liz?
I agree. I think that communication is key, and I think that, you know, I think some of the problem that we've had some miscommunication and some of these issues recently, especially with the tsunami warning, and we have, you know, we have various sources of communication now with the internet. So we've got Nixle, and we've got Facebook, and then we've got our local police officers literally going door to door, which was fantastic because some of those people don't have, my mom, she doesn't have Facebook, or she can't get, you know, she's not that quick to figure out her YouTube or whatever she's looking at. So that's definitely something that needs to be addressed right away, and I do believe that most of the city has acknowledged that being an issue and is progressing in the right direction. Supporting our local fire department and our local police department is always going to be a priority of mine for many reasons, including the potential for disaster. And I think education, you know, we've learned a lot through what we've recently been through, and I think that we do have a lot of people that move in and out of Seward, and so I think we need to provide some sort of education on disaster issues on a regular basis to the community.
All right, thank you. And Sean?
It all starts with everybody. Everybody's responsible for what they need to do in an emergency. You need to be prepared. Your family, you need to have a go kit. If you don't know what a go kit is or an emergency supplies, you can go to FEMA.gov. They've got a lot of information on what you need to do for an emergency kit. How much food you need to have, you know, how much, you know, supplies you need to have. It's all right there and for you to look at. You can talk to your local emergency agencies, the police department, the fire department. They can also help you out in being prepared and what to do to prepare. If you have time, volunteer for one of the agencies, you know, join the fire department. They're always looking for members. Same with the ambulance corps. You don't need to have any experience or training. They're going to go ahead and train you up on it. And with that, you'll even be even more prepared, and then you'll be able to help the community. Okay, but in a time of an emergency, the family's first. You need to take care of your family. You need to make sure all your loved ones are safe. Then you can work on everything else. When I was in the fire department, before they said if we need to respond, the first thing you do is make sure your family's safe. If you don't know if your family's safe, then you're not going to be able to do the job fully, so you need to work on that. The city needs to do more drills. They need to activate that EOC. They need to be knowing it inside and out. They need to do regular drills, so when the time comes that something happens, we are ready to go. And the city needs to have one voice to send out information to the public.
All right, thank you. All right, next question going to you, Liz. How do you evaluate resources, data, and research to ensure that it's valid information on polarizing topics?
I think that I first look at legislative history and look at similar topics that we're discussing, resolutions and ordinances, how they've been handled in the past. I utilize the resources that I have, you know, here within the city. I would be utilizing my fellow council members, my administration, and most importantly, my constituents. I would be bringing their concerns and ideas to the dais every time, and that's probably, and you know, colleagues, people in the community.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And Sean?
I agree with what candidate DeMoss said. What you need to do is you need to, you know, look up the information. You need to get the credible information. So that's going to be through the rest of the council. You're going to be looking at, if it's, an ordinance or something, you're going to need to go to the city clerk's office, and you're going to need to do some research on it. See what if there's any been prior information on it, do your homework on it. Talk with the department heads if it's going to be involving them. See what information they have. Always go for a credible source. Listen to your constituents. They're going to be hearing about it, and they're going to be telling you about it, and they're going to tell you what they feel about it and what they think needs to be done. So you need to take all that information, and you need to and with all that information, decide the best source of action.
All right, thank you. And Sue?
We often have polarizing issues here, and it's never easy. It's never easy to sit here and listen to people on both sides who adamantly want their side to win, and then knowing you have to make a decision to disappoint half of the people and please half of the people, and it's really hard. And there is often misinformation. So, before even coming into a meeting, as Liz said, do the research, read carefully what's being presented, maybe look into the past history. We have a vast resource of past history, and our clerk can always help with that. Listen to the department heads if they're speaking about the subject and the administration. You sometimes have to weigh that too. But in the ultimate, whatever decision you make, you own that decision. And I made a real tough one the other night, and I was telling someone, Pat Williams told me when I first got on PNC, you're going to make tough decisions, but just don't go to bed with the decision. Let it go. You make, and just have that courage. And I think that's the most important advice I would have. Otherwise, it can just make you crazy to second guess yourself over and over and feel bad for the people you disappoint. I'm a person that likes to please people, and knowing that I disappoint some people with my vote is always difficult, but I own that decision. Over the years, I've learned that.
All right, thank you. And Sean, you'll start us off with the last question. What is your 5-year vision for Seward, and what are some plans and projects that will help get us there?
My big vision for the 5 years of Seward is to get more year-round businesses and get more housing. I feel that if we can get more housing and more year-round businesses, we can attract even more people to our town. If we need to open up, look to see what we have. We have a port. We can start using it more. We've got rail. Start doing more rail. I would like to see the airfield get expanded. We can get more businesses at the airfield. Right now it's not going on too much on the other side, but they had local air charters where you can get a flight from Kenai to Anchorage. Mm-hmm. It was just a short little ticket. If you got people in town that don't have cars, or the roads are really nasty and stuff, but you want to get out of town, take a break, go to Anchorage or something like that, you could just hop on the plane and you can go over there. I really feel that we need to work on the airport. It's vital, not only for business, but for emergencies. We've used that airfield several times in disasters, and it saved us with food and medical supplies coming in, and we really need to work on that. I know it was an issue earlier, but I really feel strongly that we need to get that going. But definitely for 5 years, get more housing, get more jobs. That's what we need.
All right, thank you. And Sue?
My 5-year plan begins with getting through the COVID pandemic, getting through that. But really, we will get through it, and then help the businesses recover. It's what we've given businesses is just drop in the bucket, so we need to help the businesses recover. We need more year-round housing. It's always the thing. We need to grow our economic base to be more diverse. We're diverse, but more diversity is always good. Encouraging people to come here. Now people know they can work from home. My daughter-in-law is an engineer, and she's been working from home for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years here, doing quite well, and her outfit's in Anchorage. So you can do that. You can have jobs that work that way. I've got a bunch of pet projects I want to see through. I want the new animal shelter with SOS Pets help. I'm adamant about that once we have the money to do these things. I want us to get on with planning and developing the Air Force Rec Camp property. Some of you might not know, but we own that and we can do stuff with it with community input, but everything's sort of on hold because of the COVID. I want, with community input, to plan what's to do with the Jesse Lee Home property. Eventually, I want to see the Parks and Rec building replaced because it's the one, the red building out by the cemetery that's just a wreck. To keep an eye on the Lowell Canyon Tunnel. We've got some input now where it looks like they're going to be doing a different tunnel. Corps of Engineers has got information out there. That's something to keep an eye on. We've got so many things to do with the limited funds we have, but the first thing is to get through the pandemic, see where our finances are, and then move on.
All right, thank you,
I'm out
Sue.
of time.
And Liz?
Yeah, I think that, we're going to get through the pandemic. I think that it's going to be over sooner rather than later. I think that we're going to recover from it quicker than we think. I think that we have a lot to look forward to as a community, and I would like to kind of reset, regroup, and move forward after, being through something like this. I think that I would like to see Seward be more of a visionary leadership role and have other communities look to us for ideas and be proud of that as a community. One thing that makes it so difficult to live here and to have a business here year-round is the cost of utilities. And in the past, we've talked about utilizing renewable energy sources. And I think that we actually need to do that. We need to reduce costs for people to make it more affordable to live here and keep their businesses open year-round. I want to see affordable and quality mental health resources available here in Seward. I think it's really important for our youth and just for the morale of our community to know that that's available if needed. I want to support and work with the Prevention Coalition and the Community Health Center. And, ideally, I just want Seward to be a vibrant community year-round that people are proud to live in and proud to work in. I want to continue working with the Chamber of Commerce to increase our visitors in the winter, which they have been working on, and I think really started to gain some steam right before we got stopped with this current pandemic. So, pick up where we left off before we got stopped.
All right, thank you. That concludes our question portion of our candidate forum tonight. We're moving on to the concluding statements. We'll start with Sue, and you'll each have 3 minutes for concluding statements.
Well, I want to thank the Chamber and the city for this opportunity. I think the folks viewing have gotten to know all three of us a little bit better, and it was certainly thorough questioning. I think we've covered a range of topics. I'm just excited about potentially continuing on the city council this time as I had been before. I think there's a lot of things going on. I think I'm capable, stable voice for the council. I listen to people. I help people. I have people calling me when the power's out just to see if I know what's going on because they think I would, And for those of you that know me, you know where I'm at on that. And if you don't know me, I'll be there for you too. One thing about this whole election is there is the pamphlet. It does have our information. I believe it has all of our phone numbers in the pamphlet, the election pamphlet, maybe? Maybe not. But I think you can pretty much, I'm getting a thumbs up. Okay. So at least mine, 491-0828, you can call me anytime. I will answer. If I don't, I'll get back to you about just about any topic. And that's what we have to do now with the COVID. There's a lot of people I can't go visit because of their health and this and that. So I guess in conclusion, I'm excited about being up here, and I would ask for your vote.
Thank you. And Liz?
Yeah, I want to thank GCI, Seward Public Radio, the Chamber, the City of Seward, David, Jason, Brenda, everyone for being here and putting this on. I want to thank everyone that's shown their support through kind words to me and putting up signs and voting for me and helping me have the confidence to do this and know that I can do this. You know, I think one of my positions here in the community that has really prepared me for a job like this is working in the hospitality industry and listening to people in this community all day, every day, for lots of years. And I'm very thankful for that. And it's really allowed me the opportunity to know what people want and need and what our visitors want and need. And I enjoyed that, and that's something that I'm good at in my job, so I know I'll be good at in this job. So I guess it's important to me that the community knows that I will really always be there to listen and to bring your concerns. I will answer my phone. You can text me, you can call me, you can email me, you can come find me. And I'm happy to have those conversations about anything. And I always want to hear the opinion, because I know that if I'm elected, my true job is to be the voice of my constituents.
All right, thank you. And Sean?
I find it an honor just, you know, for the chance to go for this position. I would like to serve each and every one of you on the council and be your voice. You can get a hold of me at any time, just like the other candidates. You know, let me know your concerns, your questions, what you want us to look into, what you want us to do, or whatnot. My big thing is emergency preparedness and public safety. You know, I feel we need to have everybody on board on this. You know, everybody needs to be prepared for an emergency, or an outbreak or anything like that. I'd be willing to, you know, talk to people about it if they want more information, or contact, you know, your fire departments or EMS agencies. You know, I support public safety. I do not want to defund them in any ways, but we also need to make sure that we have a excellent public safety to, you know, prevent crime. We have had a lot of crime issues that I've heard, and you know, we really need to be on top of that. You know, I fully support the police department here. I think that they do a great job, and with our support with them, you know, I think we can get them the tools to be able to do that job. Again, I would appreciate your vote. You know, vote in your heart of who you feel is the best choice for you. That is what the council's for. We need to hear your input of what you want to make this community better. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And Seward, that concludes our Meet the Candidates evening. I'd like to thank our participants, Sean Corrigan, Sue McClure, and Liz DeMoss. And I'd also like to thank our sponsors, Seward Public Radio, KIBH 91.7, the City of Seward, and the Seward Chamber of Commerce. And please remember to go out and vote.
Thank you.